The summer vacation season is upon us, and our Rome Transit Department Director, Kathy Shealy, is getting ready to go on an extended vacation, often referred to as retirement. Kathy, congratulations to us. Tell us, how long have you been with the city?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been with the city, actually, this September the 24th. I will be there 49 years.
So you'll actually be retiring, I understand, with 50 years,
Yes.
with the credit for 50 years
Yes.
with sick time and vacation time unused.
That is correct.
How does one work for one job for 50 years?
Well, I've loved my job since the day I started, and when I started years ago, I just have a passion for the public riders and stuff like that. When I came to work with the city of Rome, actually, we had school buses and not even tripper buses, so it's come a long ways, and we changed over to that. And then there's been a big change in 2019 when we went out of the tripper service. So I just have a passion for it and love the riders, and I know there's a need for public transportation in Rome.
That's what I was going to ask, Kathy. Cities the size of Rome, 38,000 or so, typically don't have a bus service. Tell us how you've managed to hang on to a bus service in a city the size of Rome for this long.
Well, we are federal, state, and local funded, so we get a lot of grant funding. We did not go into that until the late 79, 80s. And so actually a lot of that, every year I apply for grant applications, and we're funded a lot through that. The federal government helps with operating a match with the city, and then also most of our capital. So that most of transit systems in Georgia, Georgia Department of Transportation and Federal Transit Administration support transit, public transit, and so that's been a great thing. And so just working with them and working with the city, doing their match, it's just been a great thing.
Now, you talked about the passion for your riders. Tell us, who typically is an RTD passenger? Because I know it's changed a lot the last 2 years.
It has. Actually, back when I started, public riders, we actually were operating about 12 buses on the fixed mainline route. A lot of people in Rome, we had ridership was probably around 800 or 900. I feel like at that time more riders were riding. I actually was kind of raised up on the bus system because my mother never drove, and so on Saturdays, we had bus service on Saturdays. We lived close to a bus stop, and so we would walk to the corner of Shorter Avenue and Barnett Ferry Road and catch the bus and go to town for the day. So the riders, are different. A lot of our riders, even back then, were people that had no other means of transportation or didn't have a car or couldn't afford to drive, have a car or didn't drive.
And how many mainline routes do we have now? And tell us about the headway.
Right now we actually have 6, but we have 5 are full routes. And then the 6th one we added, it's just like a Ashland Park, which goes like 4 trips a day back and forth to there because it's kind of out from the area. There were a lot of people that needed transportation from up in that area, that veterans and stuff like that, so we added that route.
Now, what made this the right time for you to retire?
Well, I've been going to retire for a couple of years. My husband retired a couple of years ago from the banking. And so I was going to go then, and of course we had the change in 2019 with the tripper bus service, and then COVID came in 20 and 21, and so we were short-staffed and different things, so I just kind of stayed in there. There were a lot of changes at Georgia Department of Transportation with personnel, and I guess I just kept on going, and the next thing you know, here I am.
Well, now, for those maybe who aren't unaware, the tripper service is a reference to the
School
bus.
Yes.
Yeah, school bus service, which the feds said we couldn't do a couple of years ago. That and COVID came along, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
And now bus ridership is free,
Yes.
thanks to some grant money we've gotten. Do you think that can be sustained going forward?
I hope it can. I had pushed for years wanting free public transit because most of our riders are people that can't afford a car or afford insurance, and they don't drive. And our fare at this time was $1.25 and 60 cents for seniors, but that's a lot of money to a lot of them. And so when we finally, the city commission and approved us to go to free ridership, that was wonderful. So we've been going on it. We're going actually through December 31st of this year, and that has been a great thing. Our ridership has actually increased probably about 80 to 85%. And so that's a good thing, because the other thing is our funding from Federal Transit Administration is based off of a lot of factors, and it is like miles and hours and ridership and different things like that. So that's helped us be able to sustain once we lost and went out of the tripper bus service, because we didn't know what it would do to us as far as cutting. But then, like you said, COVID came in in 2020, right after, so it was all just boom, boom, boom for 3 years. And so it's been great. During the CARES, we got CARES funding, and for 2 years we were lucky that the feds stepped in and they gave all transit systems, they reverted all of our funding and didn't have to pay not one red dime for 20 and 21 for operations. They funded it.
Now tell me a little bit about, briefly about the rebranding. The new buses look wonderful.
The rebranding is beautiful. They look great. I was really excited. We had those in place and trying to get those for several years. I'm proud that we did finally get those in. Courtney Griffin, my assistant transit director, she worked hard to help design that particular design on the buses with the color scheme, and they look great, and they're low floor buses, so that's better on loading and unloading wheelchair passengers, and actually from a safety standpoint, because on the other buses the driver had to get out and actually load on the street, and it could be dangerous and stuff. So that's been a great thing. So and then too with the ridership, a lot of people, when we went to free ridership, they were like thinking that people might ride and just be riding, and we do have some that sometimes do, but the driver is very aware, and they are instructed that someone has to have a destination going to somewhere. They can't just get on and ride around. They have to get off and then get back on the next trip.
I guess that's the key, isn't it? You got to be going somewhere,
that's
right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Not just a joyride.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Kathy, what does the future hold for you and Brian?
Well, actually, just doing some travel. We love to go to the mountains. We have a little place in the mountains, and so we'll go there some. Go to the lake some. We love to do that. We go to the beach. And then we've got a lot of stuff that we haven't done in the years at our own home that we let go because we're working and stuff like that. And then we've got grandchildren that'll really are excited because they'll take up some of our time. Of course, a lot of them are grown now, but we've got some that are still a little young. But we're looking forward to all that.
Well, we wish you a great deal of success, wonderful times in the future, and thank you for all you've done for this important service for our community for 50 years.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate the City of Rome for what all they've done for me, because I've loved working every minute of it every day. So thank you.